Hi there.
How we doing?
Good. We got James J.Y. Young from Styx. Pleasure to have you with us here today.
Tigman, okay.
A brand new studio album, finally, The Mission, out Friday.
Yeah, I mean, it's 14 years since the last album of original material, 12 years since the last studio album of cover songs by us, and so it, I don't know, we didn't get much traction with our 2003 Cyclorama, and that sort of put us off that, and we started making concert videos to sort of celebrate the new members in the band and let people become aware of us visually that way without having to buy a ticket first and before they saw what the band was like live, and ultimately we ran out of material to actually have, go out and make new videos from, and we said, well, time to make a new record. So here we are.
All right. Long overdue, I must say, James. Long overdue. One of the highlights for me, as far as my radio career, getting to interview you. I got to speak to you backstage at Hammerstein Ballroom. We're going back to 1999. Brave New World had been out. And I think, is Charlie Brusco still with you guys?
Brusco is still our manager.
He is. He had invited a bunch of radio people down to see the new lineup with Lawrence Gowan on vocals. You had the show. It was not a lot of lights and imagery, just a straight-ahead rock show, and it was just amazing and just a great experience to see you guys with the new lineup, and you're still going with Lawrence Gowan on vocals there.
Yes, indeed.
How is it touring these days with the current lineup? I'm guessing not as much drama as back in the early days?
No, God bless Dennis DeYoung. He's a really talented guy, and we did some great work together, and he just really did not like being on the road, and ultimately, we realized we were not going to be selling records sort of starting in the early 90s, and like most bands from the classic era now, I mean, their livelihood is from playing live concerts, and Dennis is not a fan of long tours, but that's what's required in order to make ends meet and live in the style in which we were accustomed to, and rebuild our fan base as we decided to start doing in 1999. And Lawrence has been a big part of that. And we lost our original drummer, John Panazza, back in '96, and his permanent replacement is Todd Zuckerman, who is one of the greatest drummers on the planet. And in the Reader's Poll of Modern Drummer magazine, he's been voted #1 rock drummer a number of times, and he's always, every year, at least in the top 5 or 10. And So we have some great new replacement parts. I like to say we replaced people with home run hitters, and original bass player Chuck almost died from AIDS but survived it and around with prostate cancer. So we've had Ricky Phillips on bass, who was a bass player in the Babies and Bad English, with Neil Schoen and Jonathan Cain and John Waite and those guys. And Ricky has kind of worked with everybody in the business. He's a home run hitter in his own right, and so we're going great guns as a live concert act. We love being out there, and this is the level of musicianship is the highest it's ever been in this band, and onward we go.
Yeah, just an amazing lineup, JY. Amazing. I've probably seen you a dozen times since the current lineup formed. And you're going out on tour, the United We Rock 2017 tour. Your friend Zario Speedwagon, who you've toured with many times over the years, along with Don Felder joining the tour, too. And
yes, indeed. Don, who's actually under our manager, Charlie Brusco, is managing Don now for the last 3 or 4 years, and this will be the second time we went out with him and Foreigners 3 years ago. But actually, we did a little run in Vegas, a short residency back in January of this 2017, where we became Don's backup band, and we played about 8 Eagles songs where he was up there singing them and playing that double neck 12-string of his, 6-string 12-string, and so that was a blast, and he'll have his own band here, and they'll open the show, play 40 minutes of Eagles, and then we flip-flop with REO, and they'll close half the time, we'll close half the time, and one big happy rock and roll family out there.
Tell me about it. Awesome.
United we shall rock.
You got it. It's in the title of the tour. August 11th, Bethel Woods. August 16th, Jones Beach. August 19th, Mansfield, Mass. And you wrap it up, what is it, August 22nd, I think it is, PNC Bank Arts Center.
Yeah, that's right.
Out in Homedale, New Jersey. Those are the New York area dates. StyxWorld.com for all the Styx tour dates?
That'll get them.
Okay, great. And a couple of more things real quick, JY, before I let you go. I got to know guitar heroes growing up. Who made you pick up a guitar?
Well, it was actually, I don't know, first vinyl LP I ever bought was Bo Diddley the Gunslinger.
Nice.
But I didn't pick up guitar then, I didn't really pick it up until an uncle of mine in the summer of '64 showed me a new classical guitar he bought, and everyone in my family was started on piano and encouraged to play a band instrument, so I inherited my older sister's clarinet. I kind of like New Orleans jazz, and it was handy and easy and not hard to carry. But
there you go.
I don't know, the Beatles, in the 50th anniversary of the Beatles being on Ed Sullivan, I guess, in hindsight, I think that must have had a big impact on me that I didn't realize. And people say, well, was it the way those guitars sounded, and or was it the screaming female fans? And I said it was a delightful combination of both. It had me pick up the guitar in the summer of 1964 at age 14, and so now I've been playing for 53 years. And I've learned how to have a decent facility on the guitar now. Amazing
career for you guys. How about a band that's currently out there you've never toured with, that Styx has never toured with, that you think you'd like to see a tour of?
I always wanted to open for the Who, although I don't know how much more they're going to go out and do. Sticks and Stones always seem like it would be a wonderful lineup to have.
I always loved that idea. It just never came to fruition, unfortunately.
No, it probably never will.
And how about your opinion of the Hall of Fame, the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame? Do you see a nomination for Styx down the road?
Well, certainly we fit all the criterion, and our friends, ironically, our friends Cheap Trick got in there before we did, and we've sold more records. But I think they suit more what if I was in charge of the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, there would be a bias different than, but there's certainly a bias now. It would be biased differently if it was me, but I celebrate the fact that those Jan Wenner and that whole gang went out of their way to actually celebrate the careers of great people like Bo Diddley, like Willie Dixon, like Chuck Berry, and so I believe we're going to get there eventually, and if we don't, I don't really care. Our fans would really like to see us there, and I guess it'd be a nice thing. A lot of people around me would like to see us in there, so we've certainly meet all the criterion, and perhaps sometime in the not too distant future, who knows?
Well, I hope it happens. I've always said you were the greatest rock and roll band from Chicago, and I think you deserve it.
Well, I appreciate that.
Absolutely. James J.Y. Young, Styx, the album The Mission, out Friday. We'll see you out on tour. Hope to see you at Bethel Woods on August 11th.
You are the Tigman.
Thanks for your time, James.
All right. Thank you.